Hi there, Dylan Case here, and I'm going to speak to you guys about my two contraband things that I would have if I was ever in prison. So the first thing I would do is I would take a nail from the woodworking shop that I work in. I wouldn't take just any nail though. I would take a nail that is already on a piece of wood, so that way if the guards were counting how many nails there were, the count would still match up. And then I would take duct tape and I would wrap a little handle around it to create a little weapon for defense. I would keep this weapon in my mattress by cutting a very, very small hole into my mattress and just big enough for the nail to slide into along with the handle. And then if I ever needed to take it outside of my cell, I would take a little piece of tape from the handle and tape it to the inside of my shirt so that way it's not noticeable, but it's also easily accessible. And then my second piece of contraband would be a tattoo machine that I created. I would create the ink by taking black ink out of a ink pen, mixing it with soot that I created from burning various materials, and then I would bind both of those together with shampoo. And then to create gray, because that's the other color that goes with prison tattoos, is I would dilute the ink after I've made it with just a little bit of water, and to create the gray. And then to create the needle, I would take a spring out of a ballpoint pen, and I would straighten it out, and then I would sharpen it using electricity. So the reason that you would sharpen it with electricity is because the pen is, or the spring is too small to sharpen it with any other metal. So you take a piece of wire and then you hook that to the positive end of a battery, you hook the other end to a ground, and then you just keep touching the needle until it gets sharp. And then now that we got that, I would take a toothbrush and I would cut off the brush part of the toothbrush, and then I would I would heat it up to slightly melt it to create like a 90-degree angle on the toothbrush. And then and that creates the base for the motor to sit onto. Now moving into the motor, that's actually more easy to get than you would think. You would use something as simple as an electric beard trimmer, which a lot of prisons allow in within their prison. So I would use an electric beard trimmer, and then to put them all together, I would use the empty pen cap, and I would have the needle running through it, connecting to the motor. Motor's powered by a battery that sits on it, and then it's all held together. And then to give you a visual representation, so here's my first one. So here's the nail, and then the nail would sit quite a ways into the handle. Here's the duct tape. I would have it tapered slightly to create a really good grip for the nail. And then moving on to the more complex one, here's a very terrible drawing of a prison tattoo machine. So I'll just start from the top. You have your motor, your on and off switch, and then so this is the motor itself, on off switch. The needle attaches to the gear that rotates, and that's what makes it move up and down. Here's your battery, which is powering your motor. The toothbrush that the motor sits on. So once you get this made, you would take the motor and you would take the toothbrush and you would melt the plastic with the motor on it to bind them together so that way they stay. And then you have your needle, and it goes through this pen cap and then out where the ballpoint normally would go. So the pen cap and the toothbrush are held together with tape right here, and then what holds the battery onto the both of those is just some sort of string. You can use dental floss, just something that's just going to wrap around this a bunch right here and just hold it all together. And yeah, I mean, that's really all you need to create a tattoo machine in prison, because really all you're trying to do is you're essentially just making this needle move up and down as fast as you can make it go up and down. Yeah, thank you.